My prayer for you is that you will feel the joy of God at work beyond the circumstances in your life. And so as you live in the circumstances of your life, you can feel His presence just caring for you, just loving you, just holding you close to Him. I think that's what Paul's describing when he gives a promise out of Philippians. That's one of the Bibles that I read from today is different translations available on a mobile device. Maybe you do that also. Frequently in Sunday morning worship, I will see as many mobile devices being held by our members as well as the leather-bound book. And I enjoy working with both. But however we get to the promise, we can read the promise by saying from Paul that in whatever condition or state or circumstances in which I find myself, I have found the joy of knowing how to be content, whether I have a little or a lot. How does one get to that place? The joy of Christ enables us then to be able to see His presence at work in our lives each moment. For instance, during Vicky's and my second year of marriage, we lived in the bottom level of a home of a lady on the west side of Knoxville, Tennessee. Her name was Mildred Coleman. Her husband had died a few years before, and she was still in the early stages of moving through the adjustment of a lost dream that she and her husband could enjoy their retirement years together. So she'd opened up the bottom half of her house to the college minister intern serving at First Baptist. Well, on her refrigerator, where we would frequently have a cup of coffee and visit, was a quote that said, "Ain't nothing gonna happen to me today that God and I can't handle." That's a promise to really claim. I found that promise in a different version years later upon a man who I became very close to, who was suffering from the Lou Gehrig's disease, which would ultimately take his physical life. But he triumphed over the disease by living triumphantly in the midst of the disease. And Bob Downs had on his refrigerator that he and I would look at from time to time when over a cup of coffee, that give all your troubles to me as you begin this day, and I will carry you through. But both of these kind of refrigerator meditation thoughts are really an accurate application of the promise of the Scripture, that God is going to see you through each and every circumstance. Right now, whether it's financial stress, or you're waiting a diagnosis from the doctor, or you're wondering about your mom and dad, or your children. If you're just feeling kind of a between stage in your life and you wish life would be more exciting, or for some of you, you wish it would be less exciting, in whatever extreme that you might find yourself in, know that God will help you to have fun and use good judgment. And by trusting His presence to know your contentment, He will guide you into making good decisions in light of the circumstances where you are. And so the decisions we make won't make matters worse, but He can actually build a better tomorrow. So my prayer for you is that you will know the joy of Christ beyond the circumstances in which you're living, so that you may know His joy through the circumstances.